In this video, I'm going to show how to drill the holes that are going to be used for the cable supports to come through the bumper. To include this paper template, you'll see that we have a hole marked for the tow hook. That's going to be your reference to go left, right, and then top, bottom, we're going to use the thickness of that template. You'll see I just have the edge trimmed to the actual size. The rest is just kind of rough cut. I did the same thing on the other end. We're going to use the width of this flat portion of the bumper. You can also reference off the honeycomb or the grill, or if you have an R, you're going to have the two vertical portions that support that. You can use that as a visual reference to make sure you're centered also, and we have a center line marked on there. So I can lay this on here. I'll use my tow hook hole on this end, and then set my height up, down, and then I can tape that in place. So with that in place, we now have centers marked for our two holes. I'm going to drill that out with a small drill bit first, and then I can come back with either a hole saw, or you can use a hole saw from the beginning, or you can use a step bit like this. This works well on plastic. That'll just be the first step here. We'll drill those holes, and then we're going to use this to transfer the brackets onto the impact bar of the car. On the front of the car, we need to mount the cable support bracket. Again, arrow points up. We'll have the offset. This is going to be closer to the outside of the vehicle, so we know that this is a passenger side. We need to clean the surface so these command strips will stick on there as we push this through with the bumper in place. So I'm going to use an alcohol swab. I'm going to go from where the impact bar goes back to the frame horn about 6 inches over. Just make sure I clean that thoroughly. If you have any junk on here, definitely get any burrs or anything off of there. This is going to go this way with our slots going horizontal. So that's the end goal where we're trying to mount it. You'll see we do have slotted holes, so we're going to have a little bit of adjustment if we have any issues with our alignment. So now that we have this prepped, we'll do the same thing on the other side, and then we're going to slide the bumper into place. To align these pieces, we include this little spacer. This is just a 3D printed plug that's used for the install. This doesn't live in the bumper. This slides in from the front outside of the bumper because we're going to remove this after. So we're working on the passenger side again. Arrow up, spacer goes to, or the peg goes to the outside of the vehicle. I'm going to slide this in from behind. I can peg this with a screwdriver, whatever you have, a pick tool in this case. That's just going to hold it in so that when we put the bumper in place, we can get it in place and keep this inside the bumper. You will want to pull the command strip adhesive off the back before you slide the bumper in place, because we're going to press this into the bumper position with the bumper installed so we know that we get our alignment correct. So I have our bumper ready to go on. See, I just put some tape on here to hold that screwdriver or whatever you're using in place. If you had a second set of hands, you could do this, one person on each side. Just want to show that you could do this alone using this method. So I'm going to slide the bumper on like we normally would. I'll get the center clipped in. Once I know that's in the right spot, I can move this now and rotate it. What I'm looking to do is, when I look down here, I can see the bottom of the plate as well as the bottom of the impact bar. So I can now line up the bottom of my plate parallel to the bottom of the impact bar. That should be flush. And that'll also set my position using that spacer we have in the bumper. So I'm holding a finger down here, aligning it to the bottom of the impact bar, and I can press the stud. And this is just going to stick the plate onto the impact bar using those command strips. It's just going to hold it in place until we can throw our bolts in there. Now, if you're doing this full install, you're going to repeat for the other side. You could do these one at a time or both at the same time. That's up to you. I will pull the centering spacer out of there so that we have less friction on that. So you can see our plates installed now. Top and bottom lines up really nice. And at this point, you can now drill your 4 holes to mount that. And you just have 4 M6 bolts with nuts that'll attach that plate. We'll set the rotation of this pin in a later step when we do the cables. We're going to do that at the very end once the blade's on, because we'll set that and then we can tighten it from behind here. To set our cable, we want to do this with a bumper off because we're going to have to torque the bolt that holds that stud and clevis in place. To do this, we're going to install the cable. You'll see we got a flex end that's going to go to the end plate. It's going to go through the top end plate bracket, through the blade, into the lower end plate bracket. If you're running the lower one, you can put that nut on, just leave it loose. You just want that, that stud pulled tight, at least so it's not going to wiggle around. We can slide the top threaded end, the tube piece, into the clevis, and then we'll thread this in. These cables are made to a specific length for the vehicle, so the first time you put this on, it's going to feel like it's too short. You got to lift up this outside edge to get the slack out of it so that you can get a thread started. We want to do about 2 rotations there. That'll hold it. Once we have that in place, you'll see the angle that the cable goes. We want to just match the tube of this to follow that, so you can rotate your clevis if needed, and then we can torque the bolt in the back here. That's a serrated flange head bolt, so that's going to bite into the material and that'll create the tension so that this doesn't back out. When you take this back apart, I would suggest throwing a little bit of anti-seize on the tube of this because it's sliding through that clevis. We got a metal on metal contact, and you will be adjusting that over time. Just to go back to the cable for a second, these are made to a specific length. They're going to feel a little bit short the first time you install it. We want to preload this outside edge because as you drive with this thing, when it's under load, the cable's going to stretch slightly and then the blade's going to settle. So we want to preload that so that once that settling happens, the blade is going to be flat. And you'll notice that after the first few times you take it out.